This is Joe Hines, and I'm owner of Voice and Data Networks. I'm here with Patty Page at Voice and Data Networks. On the phone with us, we have Patrick Hall, who's Chief Marketing Officer at Call Copy, and Andy Cornier from Call Copy. We're going to get this webinar started, but first of all, I'm going to, just to give you an overview of how we're going to go about it, I'm going to talk for 2 to 3 minutes and just describe kind of the perspective and who Voice and Data is and who Call Copy is and how we get together to provide solutions to our customers. And then Patrick Hall is going to be talking about the webinar itself and the Call Copy product. And he's going to need 25 to 35 or 40 minutes, and then we're going to open it up for questions. So with that, I'm just going to get started, and I'll introduce Patrick in a minute. Just to talk about Voice and Data Networks for a minute, we've been around for, we're in our 16th year. We've been around since 1995. I underline communications applications in that first screen because we're committed to communications applications. We don't do some of the other things that IT professionals do or IT VARs do. And we really see it as just having two purposes, to return profitability or efficiencies to our customers. That's why they choose our products. And when we continue to focus on that, we continue to stay in line with our customers. We're very customer-oriented, and we're about communications products. So the 4 major things we do: maintenance, implementation of communications products, move, add, change, and we do see ourselves as a single point of service. We bring our customers to us, and then we manage multiple vendors on their behalf. As I've been saying before, we handle, IP telephony. We certainly do data networks, contact center, mobility, speech, IVR, unified messaging, those kinds of things. We do have an aftermarket group. It's what I kind of like to call a city desk group. If there's a single part or a piece or cord or an immediate need for a telephone, you want to trade in telephones, they operate in that group. And interestingly enough, that group has really emerged to be an aftermarket accessories group. Headsets, Polycom speakerphones, those kinds of things. Everything you add on to your Duraphones, those kinds of things. So Voice and Data Networks has a national footprint, and we're an Avaya Platinum Business Partner. We're partnered with Call Copy, Cisco, Mutari. Mutari does a lot of voicemail products, Plantronics, Lifesize, Juniper, and we have some major customers nationwide. Obviously, we're out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So with that, one of our major vendors is Call Copy. We find our customers are very interested in recording for various and obvious reasons. So I'm going to introduce Call Copy first. Call Copy is a leading provider of contact center solutions, and they're committed to high standards and satisfaction. They have award-winning products, and Patrick's going to talk about that. Patrick is Call Copy's Chief Marketing Officer and a co-founder. He's responsible for defining market strategy, managing customer experience and feedback, exploring new product opportunities, and developing strategic business alliances. When I read that, what I think about is if you want something in a future release, this is the guy you want to talk to right here. And that's for a number of reasons. He's in control of that, but prior to his role, he ran Call Copy's implementation support team, so he understands the issues in getting the product in. And prior to that, he was a telecommunications director for a large outsourcer. So I think he's got great empathy for the user experience and the customer experience. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Patrick, who's going to take you on a nice 25 to 35-minute journey through the great Call Copy product. Patrick.
Joe, thanks for the warm welcome there. I really appreciate you giving us the opportunity to speak today. We really value the partnership we have with your team. I'm looking forward to continuing down the path that we're on. So thanks everyone for taking time out of your day to sit down with us. Obviously we'll be taking a deep dive into first call resolution here. If you're thinking about implementing an FCR program, or you're trying to convince management or other peers in your management team to invest in tracking and improving first call resolution, or if you've already got a program in place, we really think you'll find this information to be pretty valuable to improving both your contact center's customer service and operational performance. So after we've made the case for why first call resolution is a real critical thing to measure, we'll dive into some best practices, and we'll also share with you 10 ways that we've seen our customers really move the needle on first call resolution. We call them secrets, but really they're not earth-shattering. They're pretty real and tangible, and they're not hard to implement. So some of these tools are probably already going to be available to you. You probably have some level of technology at hand to implement these things. And we can probably give you some new ideas on how to apply these tools to tackle first call resolution. So Call Copy's had great success helping our customers do more with the technology they have at hand. One of the things that we're often asked to help assist with is first call resolution. Improving this metric can lead to some significant labor savings. Fewer repeat calls leads to lowered staffing requirements. This gives managers more flexibility with their labor resources. Contact centers are right now being asked to do more and more with less and less staff, less training, and focusing on this metric can lead to real, clear, and measurable outcomes, both for your contact center and your organization. So first call resolution has a direct impact on customer satisfaction, and that's kind of the foundation of why this metric matters so much. So, I mean, the SQM group found in 2008 that 1% improvement in FCR can directly correlate to a 1% gain in measurable customer satisfaction. Contact center interactions typically have the biggest impact on an organization's overall customer satisfaction. And studies have found that 1 in 6 customers could be at risk due to poor impressions from their last contact center interaction. Improving FCR can really affect your organization's bottom line as well. A 5% reduction in customer defections can lead to an 85% boost in profits, meaning that the more customers that your organization can retain, the more future revenue you can lock in. The publication marketing science found that a 1% change in the American Customer Satisfaction Index, which is like a broad measure of customer satisfaction across North American industries, that this is directly associated with a roughly 1% increase in shareholder value. So this leads to approximately $275 million for the Fortune 500. So again, this CSAT, customer satisfaction, has a direct correlation to your organization's bottom line. Again, customer satisfaction is a leading indicator of future customer behavior and of your organization's financial performance. As a contact center industry study found that 75% of consumers would do business with a company again based on a great call center experience, and 50% of respondents said that the last time they stopped doing business with a company was partly or wholly due to poor customer service. So the more you can do as a contact center manager to resolve your customer issues on the first call, the more impact you can have on customer satisfaction, which then leads to a more positive outcomes for your organization. Improving first call resolution can really affect, again, the bottom line from a labor perspective. In this illustration, we've got a typical inbound contact center with 250 agents. And by increasing first call resolutions by only 5 percentage points from 75 to 80, and 80 is kind of the baseline industry average, that this can save you nearly $235,000 a year. That's, in this model, the equivalent of 7 full-time employees. This analysis only considers direct labor costs, doesn't factor in network service costs or software seat licenses, contract fees, hardware, training, IT support, etc. So again, if you can reduce that headcount, then that's going to correlate to additional savings as well. And then repeat calls often require supervisor or subject matter expert interventions, at which those labor rates are going to be substantially higher to you as an organization than your agents. It's also important to factor in and consider opportunity costs. If 1 out of 5 calls is a follow-up to a previous call, then precious talk time is being diverted from higher value activities like generating revenue through cross-sells, upsells, or lead referrals. So we've made a pretty clear case that FCR is a pretty crucial metric, but ICMI estimates that only about 50% of contact centers are actually measuring first call resolution. So there's probably a number of people on this call who aren't measuring this metric either. Hopefully we can arm you with some data to start a process and make improvements. And we also have we're kind of curious to the attendees that are on this call and knowing how many people are actually measuring this metric. So we've got a poll running here. If you could let us know if your organization's tracking this or not. So why aren't more of you and your peers measuring first call resolution? So that's really what we're trying to get at in this presentation. So there's numerous ways to infer first call resolution, but precise measurement can be challenging at several levels. Identifying the root causes of repeat calls can take a lot of effort and often requires support and buy-in from several departments within the organization. And making improvements to these processes can be pretty difficult, especially if the causes are occurring outside of the control of the contact center. So how do people typically measure first call resolution? Most common approach is a product that we offer that is through call or quality monitoring. As part of a traditional quality monitoring process, a supervisor or analyst will review the call and judge whether or not the issue is fully resolved. This is a pretty reasonable approach. And the most significant problem that we typically run into with our customers is just the small sample size that this entails. Really only about 0.5% of calls are going to be evaluated manually. And typically these aren't going to be selected on a random basis. And this is an internal measure. This isn't an external validation. So your employees are measuring your own employees by going through and listening to calls and determining if the issue was truly resolved on that transaction. You can also get at these numbers through statistical calculations, like from a CRM or an ACD or a PBX, which shows repeat calls. But again, this is an internal measure, so if somebody's calling from their office to try to resolve an issue and then calls again from their home or cell phone, this process could break down, especially if you're using ANI or caller ID. Increasingly, we're seeing our customers use voice of the customer surveys to measure first call resolution. A lot of experts believe that this is the most accurate approach because only the caller really knows for sure if the issue is completely resolved. This is also a pretty great method if you're also recording your calls because it could be possible to retrieve specific recordings to determine why issues weren't resolved on the first call if you're trying to get to some type of root cause analysis. Customers also may report that their issues weren't fully resolved, but tracking back to the transaction may show that the agent fully resolved the call according to your own internal definitions and standards. So you can do some calibration that way as well. 10% of contact centers that measure first call resolution simply have their agents ask, is there anything else I can help you with, or have I fully resolved the reason for your call today at the conclusion of each transaction. Then agents will enter in yes or no inside their system, and then the results will be tabulated. This method is easily implemented and requires no investment in specialized software or automated surveys. This process can also be bolstered by making it part of your QA process. So if you make sure that it happens on as many transactions as possible by making it a factor in the agent's quality evaluations, this ensures that agents are performing a task correctly. But this can be pretty labor intensive. We also have a poll for the audience to take around this topic. We're kind of curious to see, of those of you that are measuring first call resolution, what are you doing today to do it? If you could let us know that, we'd greatly appreciate it. So what are the common causes of repeat calls? Agent performance is often at the root of this. Agents are often also the focal point or key point of the contact center managers because they are within direct control. It's easiest to make changes inside of your own department than it is externally within the company. So to drive agent improvement, we need to make sure that agents need and have access to information quickly. They need quick and easy access to a knowledge base. They need quick and easy access to subject matter experts. And they need access to a caller's prior history. Agents also need to be trained and coached on proper call control. They need to be able to keep a caller on point. They need to quickly identify reasons for the call, and they need to focus the discussion on that specific topic. If the caller wanders off on tangential points, the probability of having all that caller's answers declines, which can lead to customers calling back or agents having to follow up after the fact. Lack of agent or employee authority also can have a real impact on first call resolution and general customer satisfaction problems. If an agent doesn't have the authority to solve a problem, the caller gets frustrated after the call, calls back and asks to be escalated to a supervisor. They get the same answer, so you kind of put your callers and your agents in a repeat cycle if enough transactions are happening where an agent doesn't have the authority to resolve them. Corporate policies can also have a real impact on your customer satisfaction and then impacting first call resolution. So if you've got complicated billing practices or billing cycles or difficult return processes, these things can make sense on paper, and they can make good theoretical business sense, but really the contact center is going to be where the rubber hits the road with these policies. And senior management at the organization needs to know if certain policies are contributing to customer defections. An effective way to dramatize this issue can be to share recorded interactions with management so that they're hearing the voice of the customer, they're hearing customers in their own voice. This can make a powerful impact on trying to sway people outside of the contact center that the policies they're making are contributing to customer satisfaction and first call resolution problems. We've also got a poll here as well. Kind of curious to know what inside of your organization you feel may be contributing to first call resolution issues. So now what? How do we determine the main causes of repeat calls in your contact center and inside your organization, and then how do you drive improvement? We're going to dig into a few slides that just talk about general best practices. Most important, I think, is really just to agree on a data collection method. Choose a method that's going to work for your organization, but without causing major disruptions to operations. So you can really just disrupt the status quo by putting so many collection policies in place to trying to get at a baseline number before you even get an improvement. So don't get so caught up in the details that they prevent you from performing and implementing data collection. What's most important is that the method of measurement is consistent. Establish reasonable goals. They need to be tailored to the situation. For example, there may need to be a trade-off between first call resolution and average handle time. You don't want to annoy callers and drive up costs by keeping callers on the phone while the agent is doing a lot of research and trying to bring in supervisors or subject matter experts. So depending on the priority of the situation, it may be best to schedule a callback or send an email message after the agent has researched the answer. So your targets need to be realistic and kind of reflect a balance of multiple objectives. Also, you can reward achievement by recognizing the group efforts when a target's achieved. One of our customers recently threw a pizza party for their agents because FCR increased 0.5% inside a month. So often group rewards can generate more enthusiasm than individual bonuses. Pretty basic step that can be overlooked is making sure inside of your organization that contact center management knows ahead of time of any changes or events that could catch agents off guard if they're not warned or given instructions on how to deal with specific situations. Management should maintain ongoing communications with the marketing department or the fulfillment department, making sure they're aware of new promotions, price changes, new products and services, or any other initiatives that could cause an increase in call volume. So again, this requires buy-in from executives and other parts of the organization, but if you can bring specific proof points to their attention, the better shape you can be in to make a solid case that you need their assistance. Again, we talked about this briefly before, but we really recommend that you visit policies that are going to be a major cause of repeat calls. So credits, returns, shipping charges, billing cycles, late charges, promotions, warranties. These are all good examples. If certain policies are causing a disproportionate number of repeat calls, as well as engendering ill will on the part of customers, contact center management needs to escalate this internally. So senior management may not be aware of some of the facts and figures if you're not bringing these to the table. And if changes can't be made, then every agent needs to understand the policies and be able to explain them without having to consult others and bring other people into the call. Can also improve first call resolution by empowering your agents, give them a strong knowledge base, give them information they need when they need it. This will cut down on handle time and then also boost your first call resolution rates. Every contact center at this point should be providing their agents with some form of a knowledge base. Making it searchable makes it easier for them to find and quickly locate answers, and then another advantage is going to be control. Your supervisors can assure that everybody has access to the same information and that it's kept up to date. Another key practice that we've seen, especially kind of in the smaller contact center under 100 seats, is identifying subject matter experts. So giving agents a list of 1 or 2, 3 key staff members that understand certain policies better than everyone else. So according to some industry research, about 10% of calls are going to require some sort of consultation with the supervisor or subject matter expert. So defining a clear path to that expert can certainly drive efficiency. And then we also suggest that you solicit feedback from your agents. When you talk to your agents, you may find that they feel hamstrung by restrictive policies. They may feel they lack authority to resolve disputes on the spot without escalating the call up the chain of command or simply telling the caller no. Empowering agents to do something as simple as granting free minutes or waiving shipping charges really, at the end of the day, doesn't cost the company too much, but it does wonders for customer satisfaction and agent morale. Agents also likely know the most common causes for repeat calls as well as callbacks, so tap into this resource. Establish a leadership team among your more senior agents and discuss with them why first call resolution is so important to your organization. Show them how you're calculating first call resolution, and then work with them to set objectives and establish possible corrective actions. Getting agent buy-in is obviously going to be pretty essential and key to tackling this metric. So now we're going to kind of shift into some of the ways that call copy customers are measuring first call resolution and using our technology to solve these problems. Like I said at the beginning of the call, these things really aren't earth-shattering, but they're real and tangible. They're not overly complicated, but they're really solid tools that you might have available to you or might be thinking about implementing. And then there are some emerging technologies that we're also seeing impact customer service as well. So one of the key things to do is establish a baseline first call resolution rate. One quick way to do this may simply be via a call detail report. So capture and count all calls from the same calling number, and then or an account number or a case number that are occurring within a specific time interval. And then get at your repeat call rate. Can establish some rules to capture and count all these calls too from a CRM system or a billing system if you have it and are able to track it at that rate. Call copy provides a duplicate caller report here as well to help baseline and analyze repeat callers. Another trick or secret that we've seen our customers use is implementing a closing code protocol and then assessing the results. So the Avaya has the capability to do this as well. Our call copies got a desktop application that allows you to track closing codes. So train your agents on how to identify what a repeat call is, and then have them tag or code those repeat calls so that they can be identified for reporting as well as process improvement. If you are using this method, make sure that supervisors audit this as part of the coaching or evaluation process. And then you can use a tool like Call Copy to search and listen and gather data about these repeat calls, so you can try to get at a root cause analysis for why they may be occurring. One of the most common practices that our customers are using are post-call surveys. You can add a couple of yes or no questions, such as, was this the first time you called about this question, or did the customer service representative completely answer your questions? And then you can correlate these responses back to specific transactions, again, to try to get at a root cause analysis of what's causing the repeat calls. One of the most exciting technologies that we're working with and we're seeing customers implement is speech analytics. And we really expect to see some pretty rapid adoption of this technology over the next few years. But you can use this module or this component to search for keywords or phrases inside the actual recorded transactions. So we've got customers that are doing things like searching for phrases like I called before, or the last time I called, or I spoke to someone before, to locate these repeat callers. One of our outsourcing customers has leveraged this technology particularly to a real significant competitive advantage. They've got a client who outsources to multiple vendors, and they've leveraged our speech analytics technology to achieve higher first call resolution rates than their competitors. So same calls being delivered to multiple outsourcers, and they're handling them better and driving down first call resolution, and are able to prove that to their corporate client. So it's been, like I said, a huge competitive advantage for them. You can also leverage your quality management program to pinpoint underlying issues that are contributing to repeat calls. You can have your supervisors or quality evaluators listen to samples of repeat calls to identify recurring causes. Our software has the ability to track and report on this data without factoring it into an agent's score. So you already have a quality team and supervisors listening to these calls, so that you might as well kind of leverage them for your data collection. So they basically fill out, yes, this was a repeat call, but they're not penalizing the agent who is handling that repeat call, because that's not necessarily the fault of the agent at that point. So you can report on this metric, you can track it, but then not have it reflect against the agent's scorecard. So we've got several customers that are doing that. You can also use survey questions to identify common causes of repeat callers. If a caller indicates that it was a repeat call, then you can provide a short list of known causes to which they can provide a yes or no answer. Additionally, you can ask for detailed feedback via recording from the customer. You can also use speech analytics to identify calls that require additional follow-up or resources. So you can build categories around common words such as billing problem or return policy or advertising to receive notifications of terms that may indicate a repeat call. And then you can track first call resolution as a evaluation metric. So weigh it accordingly to underline the importance of resolving queries on the first call. So if agents are contributing to the problem and your evaluators are able to detect it, then you can obviously penalize those agents through that methodology. We'd also recommend that you reward agents that aren't contributing to the problem instead of just penalizing those that are. You can also build first call resolution techniques into your coaching program. So use examples of superior agent performance as a teaching and coaching tool. Based on evaluation sessions, supervisors can then provide coaching assistance on call control, on new products, on corporate policies, and other factors that may drive repeat calls. And then you can use tools like video screen capture, which Call Copy also offers, to ensure agents understand their knowledge-based tools. This is one of the ways the Call Copy customer, DePaul University, was really able to improve first call resolution. They were literally able to see what was causing agents problems using their internal tool sets. So DePaul had established an internal call center for their students to call into to access student records and get student services. And they were able to leverage screen capture to really improve the process flow of kind of their back office staff to really drive down first call resolution and really increase the effectiveness of the services that they provided their students. You can also empower your employees by providing real accessible, up-to-date information. So we have a real-time performance management tool that allows you to push messages and other content out to your agent to ensure they always have the latest available information. And then you can customize these essentially dashboards to display individual QA metrics as well as first call resolution rates. So when you couple this with additional incentives, this can be a real powerful motivator. So realistically, if you combine several of these steps, a 5% increase in first call resolution is really achievable. And as we modeled earlier, a 5% increase in customer satisfaction correlates to that 5% increase. So you can also expect to see some pretty significant cost reductions that we modeled earlier as well from labor reduction by reducing the number of repeat calls. So we've had customers like U-Haul International, Mohawk Industries, DePaul University that I mentioned before increase this metric as much as 10%. So we're pretty confident you can take tools like this into your contact center and achieve similar results, especially if you're not already focusing on driving up first call resolution today. That is the bulk of the presentation, Patty. Did you want to go ahead and open it up for questions from the audience?
Certainly, if you folks want to raise your hand if you have a question. So I think that will do it, huh, Patrick?
Yep. I appreciate everybody attending today. One thing we didn't mention, we also have an ebook that really dives into a lot of these metrics and cites a lot of our sources. Patty's got that available to you if you need it. You can reach out to salesmanager@voicedata.com and they can get a copy of that document over to you.